Pakistanis might say, if our government is so close to Trump, why can't they do something to get Trump to restrain Netanyahu? You just claimed that India is controlling Imran Khan's Twitter account. What evidence do you have for that?
Kashmir is a dispute, is a wound which is bleeding for last 78 years or 77 years.
The Indians would say that you've helped bleed that wound by supporting a lot of these militant groups. In most countries, the head of the army answers to the defense minister. In your country, you, the defense minister, answer to the head of the army, don't you? Asim Munir is a more powerful person than you are.
Every country has a deep state.
But in your country, the deep state's in charge.
I'm not claiming that we have perfect democracy. Ultimately, we are marching towards that. I've been in prison for 6 months without any charge.
But that's the problem with Pakistan. You all imprison each other every time you come to power.
If he's claiming equity, he must prove that he has clean hands.
That's not how the law works.
Yeah.
Did your government make a fool of itself by nominating Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize the day before he attacks another country? A war with India, a defense agreement with Saudi Arabia, and a deepening of ties with Trump's America. What a year it's been for Pakistan, which also continues to face political upheavals at home with the ongoing and hugely controversial imprisonment of former Prime Minister Imran Khan. Joining me now to talk about all of this and more is Pakistan's Defense Minister, Khawaja Asif. Thank you so much for joining us here in New York. You're here at the United Nations. There's a lot going on in the news, separate to the UN. Big news right now with Pakistan, a lot of people are asking, is the Defense Pact. Saudi Arabia was one of the first countries to recognize Pakistan after it gained independence from the British in 1947. And now this month, both of your two countries have signed this pretty historic mutual defense agreement, pledging that any attack on either nation would be an attack on both nations. How much of this agreement is a reaction to what happened in Qatar recently with the Israeli bombing of Qatar?
It is not a reaction to what happened in Qatar, because this was being negotiated for quite some time. So it's not a reaction. Perhaps must have speeded it up a bit, but that is all. It's not. It was already in the offing.
In terms of mutual defense, Pakistan is the Muslim majority world's only nuclear power, and in recent years, Saudi Arabia has expressed interest in being the second, with the Saudi energy minister saying in January that his country is ready to enrich and sell uranium, albeit for energy purposes. You told Reuters that nuclear weapons were not on the radar of this pact, your words. So just to be clear for people watching, is Saudi Arabia protected by Pakistan's nuclear umbrella per this agreement or not?
Well, you have rightly quoted me from Reuters. But we have had a very long defense relationship with Saudi Arabia, spanning on 5 or 6 decades. We had military presence over there, perhaps more than 4,000 or 5,000 at the peak. And we still have military presence over there. So it's, I think we have just formalized that relationship, which was previously a bit transactional.
Yeah.
And but it was something which stayed there like 5, 6 decades. So it has been formalized now.
But formalized with or without the nukes?
No, it's this is something which I'll refrain from going into the details, because it's a defense pact, and defense pact are normally not discussed publicly.
Well, people can read into your silence what they want to read into it. I mean, you do have nuclear weapons. Everyone knows.
We have nuclear weapons,
and Saudi Arabia does not. So I guess
I think I always pray, and I've given this example that since Nagasaki and Hiroshima, despite multiple nuclear powers in the world, nobody has resorted. Not yet. Thank God.
I will come back to the risk of nuclear war in a moment, but Bob Woodward, in his 2024 book, War, he quotes Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, telling a US senator, I don't need uranium to make a bomb, I'll just buy one from Pakistan. Can he do that?
I think it's just it has sensationalized.
You don't believe that quote?
No, I don't believe that quote.
You're not in the business of selling nuclear weapons to other Muslim minority countries.
We're very responsible people.
India responded to the agreement by stating that it would study the implications of this development for both national security as well as for regional and global stability. Saudi Arabia, as you know, Minister, is very close to India. MBS has called Modi his older brother. Modi visited Saudi Arabia in April of this year. Is this Pakistan's attempt to pull Saudi Arabia out of India's orbit?
I personally feel, because I have involved in different positions, negotiating or interacting with the Saudi royal family or Saudi leadership, our relationship is not subject to their relationship with India. It has absolutely no effect on Saudi-Pak relationship. If they have a business relationship with India, or they have, but I think our relationship is much more robust, and it won't be affected by any transaction or any warming up with India. We don't see it like that.
Your country's Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, this month he called for the creation of an Arab Islamic task force to adopt effective measures to ward off Israeli expansionist designs, his words. We'll get to Israel shortly. But I just wanted to ask you, is this Saudi pact an early step in the creation of that task force? You've previously said that the doors are not closed with respect to other Arab nations joining. People are now openly talking about a Muslim NATO. Is that on the table?
No, I actually said that we want to create something on the pattern of NATO. And I think that will be a very constructive thing in our area. Because
which countries would be in it?
Muslims and Arab, and of course, obviously, if it is a Islamic NATO, then non-Arab and Arab Muslims would be included.
Have you had interest from other countries in the region in this?
Yeah, we are. There are countries who are inclined to join this arrangement, but it's still at a very nascent stage.
But Pakistan is leading it. This is your idea, and you're pushing it?
No, actually, it's an idea coming from multiple quarters. Okay. It's the event in the recent past has forced the countries of the region to rethink their relationship and rethink their strategies.
I mean, I guess countries in the neighborhood are very worried about the American security umbrella not extending to them. Qatar is an ally of the US. They got bombed by Israel. We are in New York for the UN General Assembly meetings. The UN has been severely undermined over the past 2 years by Israel's continuing genocide in Gaza. Pakistan has called upon the UN to suspend Israel's membership due to that genocide. The UN has, done the odd condemnation, but not much else. How much faith do you have in the United Nations to hold countries accountable for genocide or war crime?
UN has not really performed the way people expected when this organization was created. The Kashmir resolution, Security Council resolution on Kashmir is one big example, and so many other resolutions on Palestine and other problems. But whenever United States wants to, use United Nations for its own interests or its own agenda, negatively or positively, the organization is, forced to submit to their wishes, but not the third world or Muslim world. So it is, but I would never say that the organization should be discarded. But having said that, we can have like SEO. Is an organization which can play a very vital role in international politics. Because in my humble opinion, the power centers are slowly and gradually are shifting towards East, So UN maybe in the long run become redundant, or an organization which can become fossilized.
Yes.
But at the moment, I would say it has utility. It's a platform which can be used by a country like ours,
It definitely needs reform. We will come back to Kashmir in a moment. Just sticking with Israel for a moment. Pakistan does not have any formal relations with Israel, but it does have increasingly close relations with Israel's primary funder, the United States. Have you tried at all to get the US to restrain its number one ally in the world, Israel? I'm sure many ordinary Pakistanis are upset with your government for having such a close relationship with the US while they're backing a genocide.
Well, we have had a transactional or a flirtatious relationship with the United States for a very
Those
long
are two
time.
different things. Transactional and flirtatious are two different things.
Flirtatious can be transactional,
Okay.
and transactional can be flirtatious.
I'll defer to you on that. Okay.
So we have had that since the Baghdad Pact and Cito, Santo, and our assistance or our land.
I understand the history,
Yeah.
but this year it feels like you guys are much closer. Trump seems to like you. You seem to like him.
Yeah,
and I'm just
that is
wondering,
correct.
given you're closer, Pakistanis might say, if our government is so close to Trump, why can't they do something to get Trump to restrain Netanyahu? Have you done anything?
I think some of our friends and brothers, they were much closer to Trump or to United States. Historically speaking, they couldn't persuade them to abandon Israel because of the Israeli influence in American politics. That's a very big factor of which has shackled the United States of America politically and otherwise.
Your country gave a top US general just a few weeks ago Pakistan's Nishan-e-Imtiaz, the National Medal of Excellence. A lot of people were upset with that.
Yeah, there were some voices in Pakistan. People protested that it shouldn't.
So why did you do it?
We have military cooperation arrangements with the United States. And it's historical. It's nothing new.
Okay.
So it has seen ups and downs, but it has stayed sometimes very active, sometimes inactive.
So you keep citing the history, which is true, but I'm just seeing something very different this year. On June 20th of this year, for example, Pakistan publicly, officially nominated Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. The very next day, Trump became the first American president to bomb Iran in what many view as a totally illegal strike. Did your government make a fool of itself by nominating Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize the day before he attacks another country?
But we didn't know that he's going to attack
You didn't,
the next day.
but then you looked foolish, did you not?
But let me, the reason behind that, the role President Trump played between, bringing the clash between India and Pakistan to halt, and the ceasefire.
You give him credit for that.
Yeah, we give it.
The Indians don't.
They don't. He said it, I think, the 42nd time yesterday.
He did. He really wants a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
Do you still believe he should get one even after bombing Iran?
I think, if the context is, I've just explained to you why we...
The India-Pakistan
context, that is still there, I think he's still playing a very pivotal role in keeping peace in our region,
Pakistan has sourced around 80% of its weapons from China over the past 4 years, according to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. Do you worry that your country's close relationship now with Trump through mineral deals, crypto deals and more, that could jeopardize your vital relationship with China? After all, he did spend a lot of time criticizing China, Donald Trump, recently. That obviously America and China are at loggerheads.
And they will remain at loggerhead.
But are you worried about jeopardizing your long-standing relationship with China?
No. We are not worried about that because it's a time-tested relationship with China. Since the late 50s and Indo.
But they might not like you flirting with the US.
I can respond to that, but I'll just conclude it by saying that China is not worried about our flirtatious or whatever you call it.
You used the word flirtatious. I did not. Is Pakistan's strategic future, you're the defense minister, you look at military strategy, you're planning years ahead. Is your strategic future with China or with the US? It can't be with both.
You're right. You're right. In the past, China, and even today, and inshallah in future also, Pakistan has been a very reliable ally, a very reliable, provider of arms of all kinds to us. We are Air Force, our submarines, JF-17 and 10, both are Chinese planes. Our submarines are from there. Almost a major portion of our arms are from China, and our defense cooperation is increasing. It is much more robust than before.
With China?
With China. And then the main reason is unreliability of other sources like United States of America.
So then, are you basically saying your strategic future is with China, not the US?
Yeah, but because
they're a reliable ally.
They're reliable, and they are our neighbors. We share borders, and
Yes.
we share the geography also.
But because they're your ally, you never criticize China. You would criticize the genocide in Gaza, but the Pakistani government won't criticize China's genocide of Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang.
Well, I'm aware of what are you trying to,
I'm just pointing out a double standard that some people might say the Pakistani government criticizes Israel for the genocide in Gaza, but it doesn't
I think
say anything about the Chinese government.
these two situations are not comparable.
I agree.
Yeah.
They are different.
Yeah, they are totally
and
different.
the death toll in Gaza is on a different level.
Different level.
But what China's done in Xinjiang is bad. Every human rights group, every UN organization, the Uyghur expats, these are Muslim people being oppressed in Xinjiang province, mosques being destroyed.
I have been there, and I have interacted with some Muslim, very important officials in Chinese hierarchy, and they are very well placed. Of course, there must be some disturbance there in the Xinjiang province. I don't deny that. But I think most of these organizations have, it's exaggerated what is happening over there, in my humble opinion.
But it's interesting you should say that. So I interview a lot of ministers from a lot of governments, and whenever I put human rights issues, they say, oh, these are exaggerations. But interestingly, the same people who criticize Gaza, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, they criticize China in Xinjiang, they criticize India's military in Kashmir. I'm sure you agree with the human rights reports in Kashmir, but you don't agree with them in Xinjiang because that's your ally. You're selective.
Yeah, I was about to use the same phrase,
You're selective.
No, we are not selective. But the scale and the size of what is happening in Gaza is much bigger.
We agree on that. I'm not disputing that.
And it is the way it is being covered by social media and the electronic media that has contributed to the recognition of this genocide or recognition of brutality which is taking place.
Undeniable. We agree on that. The Indians, of course, would say when Pakistan criticizes what's happening in Kashmir, that's exaggerated. Those are just disturbances. Kashmir is a human rights disaster, I think we can agree on. I just want to be clear, Minister. Is Pakistan's position, you mentioned the UN resolution a moment ago, is Pakistan's position that there should be a referendum to determine the future of Kashmir? And would that referendum be a binary choice between being part of India or being part of Pakistan? Or do you support giving Kashmiris a third choice of choosing to be independent?
This has been discussed over many decades, just to find a way out of this deadlock. If the parties to this conflict, China is also a party to it, because part of Kashmir is with China also. If they can, I'm not suggesting anything, but if they can sit together, if they really want to find a solution for Kashmir problem, and if that is the solution acceptable to people in Kashmir, that could be a way out of the stalemate.
What is your government's policy? Because you mentioned
our government policy.
The UN resolution doesn't offer an independence vote. It offers
our stated policy is definitely what the resolution states.
Because Imran Khan, when he was Prime Minister, and we'll come to him later, he actually said he would be open to a third choice in a referendum. I'm just wondering if your government
I for the time being, as long the resolution is there, and if there is an effort that the third choice should be, the option should be explored, then of course that could be one of the options.
So just to clarify for your viewers, the government policy is still UN resolution, referendum, choose between India and Pakistan, but you're not opposed to the possibility of a third choice.
If it is the parties to the conflict, they agree on finding another solution.
It's not about the parties of conflict, it's about the people on the ground, self-determination. I got to ask, you're the defense minister. There was a conflict this year, 4 days, a lot of violence. How close did India and Pakistan get to using nuclear weapons?
No, I think there was absolutely no possibility of using nuclear weapons,
And you had this 4-day military conflict with India, again over Kashmir, following this deadly attack by militants on civilians in Pahalgam. Pakistan denied sponsoring that attack. India has not provided any evidence to the world that you were behind it. But the truth is that your country does have a long history of backing militant groups in Kashmir. Former President Pervez Musharraf said about 15 years ago, he admitted it in an interview with a German magazine. You, in an interview with Sky News earlier this year, you said Pakistan had done dirty work for the West, especially during the Afghan jihad. I mean, that's undeniable, right? You don't deny Pakistan's history with a lot of these militant groups.
I particularly our participation in two so-called jihads, one against Soviet Union,
yes,
and the other against the Taliban. I think Pakistan had no business to be there in both these situations. Whatever we are facing internally today, the terrorism and the religious radicalization and overdose of religious fervor, that is because of these two episodes which took place, one in 80s and one just the last.
But you were not passive observers. You chose.
We chose. We made a mistake. We made a mistake.
But what about today? Mistake. Is the mistake over?
No.
Or is it ongoing?
We made a mistake. This is my personal view.
Fair.
There was a dictator in a military ruler. Ziaul Haq was there. He was desperately, exploring the possibility of establishing some sort of relationship with the United States. So this was one opportunity, and we lent our whatever was available or whatever.
Understood.
Was, The second episode took place again. Musharraf lent his support. So I think
but that's Afghanistan.
That is Afghanistan.
In Kashmir, the Pakistani ISI happily backed a lot of these groups.
But Kashmir, we had absolutely nothing to do with what was happening in Afghanistan.
Agreed.
It was not our business. But Kashmir is a dispute, is a wound which is bleeding for last 78 years or 77 years.
The Indians would say that you've helped bleed that wound by supporting a lot of these militant groups.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so, because there is an indigenous freedom movement, though it's on the back burner now.
Yes.
But it was
there is an indigenous movement, but there are also guys sitting in Pakistan. You know their names, leaders of groups who are under house arrest or in prison or wandering freely in the streets of Pakistan.
No, they are not. None
they
of
have
them.
done. They have done in recent years.
In the past.
Not in the past. In recent years.
No, not in recent years. I won't endorse that.
So
we can.
I just want to be clear. Then you're saying, as of today, September 2025, Pakistan and Pakistani ISI is not backing any militant groups.
Absolutely.
The ISI.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when did that policy begin? When did you stop backing it? Because you've admitted you used to back
it. No. This is something which we are actually, as after this incident in Pahalgam, we offered even that international, sort of inquiry can be instituted. If our involvement is established, then
But you, as the defense minister, are saying, vouching that you have checked, you can give your personal assurance that the Pakistani government, the Pakistani intelligence agencies, the military have no ties anymore to any of these militant groups.
Absolutely, I'll endorse that again.
But I'm wondering, when did that happen? When was the cutoff?
I think these organizations you have just referred, which were obviously, I have said it on record that they were being supported by Pakistan in the past. I think this, if I can't say 5, 6, or 8, or 9, 10 years, but few years, it has cooled down, this whole thing.
Okay. Let's talk about the military. The 4-day conflict with India saw the prestige of Pakistan's military skyrocket within your country. It's a strange system you have in Pakistan. I think you've called it a hybrid model, where the military and civilian leaders effectively share power. But the military leaders are really the ones in charge, are they not? In most countries, the head of the army answers to the defense minister. In your country, you, the defense minister, answer to the head of the army, don't you? Asim Munir is a more powerful person than you are.
No, it's not like that.
You don't think General Asim Munir is more powerful than you are in Pakistan today?
No, I'm a political appointee. I'm a political worker,
But I'm saying in other countries, in this country, we're in the US, Peter Hegseth can fire the top American general. You can't fire the top Pakistani general.
They have a different model over here.
Yeah, it's called democracy.
No, it's called deep state,
Well, civilian rule.
It's a deep state.
Pakistan doesn't have a deep state?
Every country has a deep state.
But in your country, the deep state's in charge. No. That's what the accusation is.
We are, it's you can say that because of our military rulers, 4 military rulers.
Yes.
So it is more, visible. It's not like.
But who's in charge is what I'm trying to understand. Where does power lie?
I said it is hybrid,
So it's equal.
It's not equal.
If you and Asim Munir disagree on something, who gets the last word?
We can agree to disagree.
I understand you can disagree, but then what happens? Let's say you want to go left and he wants to go right. Who wins that argument?
No, it is by consensus, whatever is taking place.
Can you really be considered a democracy if the military is even indirectly involved in running the government?
Yeah, I have a view on that. I don't think so. There is a perfect democracy anywhere in the world.
Agreed.
There are deep states in UK, in USA, and elsewhere also. Here. In American history, recent American history, in last 60, 70 years, there are some very stark evidences and events which took place.
I know, but there haven't been military coups like in Pakistan.
No, we are unfortunate that it took place in 58 and 71.
But I'm asking, in 2025, is Pakistan a democracy if the generals still have a role in government? If it's a hybrid, can it still be a democracy in your view?
I'm not claiming that we have perfect democracy.
Okay.
But we will ultimately, we are marching towards that, with the, whenever there is a friction between these two institutions, strong institutions, political, and they become adversaries. So we have found a way that our relationship should not be adversarial. We should be complementing each other, because we are in a very dire situation for a very long time.
Yes.
We do not need different power centers in Pakistan. We can combine our forces in one power center and try to bring our country out of economic problems, other problems, political problems,
So on the political front, can you also be considered a democracy if you effectively criminalize the opposition, ban a political party, the PTI, Imran Khan's party, from running for office, impose a media blackout on them, arrest and detain hundreds of party members, and of course put their leader, Imran Khan, the former prime minister of your country, in prison on very questionable charges, many of which have been dropped or overturned on appeal over the years, as you know. I wonder, are you banning and cracking down on the PTI because you're worried about how popular they are?
I don't think so. I do not endorse the idea that they are popular. I'm not denying that. They are not popular. And I think over the last 2.5 years, the popularity has definitely gone down because of economic recovery. That is one big factor. And things are much more orderly since the last elections. We have problems. We have political problems.
But is it fair to stop one party that you don't like.
We're not. They have access to the judiciary.
They're not even allowed to use their own symbol when they run for office. Come on.
No, I've been in prison for 6 months without any charge.
You have been?
Yeah.
I mean, all the politicians.
Yeah.
But that's the problem with Pakistan. You all imprison each other every time you come to power.
You know,
so why do it to Imran Khan? If it was unjust to you, isn't it unjust to Khan?
No, I'm not saying that it's for tit for tat. I'm not saying that. But this is something which is there. And you know, if Imran Khan can justify whatever he did and say that that was okay, and this time it's not okay, this selective amnesia or selective application of
no, I won't disagree that Pakistani politicians across the board are guilty of selective amnesia, but Amnesty International said in a report last year that it has found a pattern of weaponization of the legal system to keep Imran Khan under detention. And it's not just Amnesty. You're here in New York attending the UN General Assembly. The UN's own working group on arbitrary detention said last year that there was no legal basis for Khan's imprisonment. They called it arbitrary. They called it a violation of international law. What is your response to those UN experts? While you're here in New York for the UN, what do you say to them?
Well, I think they have an opinion with which I disagree.
Their opinion is that you're breaking the law.
No, we are not breaking the law.
Pakistan is in violation of international law. No, that's what they said last year.
I disagreed with that. Totally disagree with that. Pakistan has a situation whereby we are trying to recover from a very, very misrule or bad rule or whatever you can call it for 3.5 years. Absolutely, even the families were in the jail during Imran Khan's rule. Nawaz Sharif's daughter was there.
You just said it wasn't tit for tat.
No, it wasn't tit for tat.
But every time I ask about Imran Khan, you say, well,
but
we were in prison as
you
well.
have to refer to the context.
So I happily condemn that as well.
Yeah.
In fact, I interviewed Imran Khan and I asked him about that.
But, you know, like for instance, I remember that. I'll give you an example. You know, way back in 2012, I accused Imran Khan for siphoning money of Shaukat Khanum and investing it in real estate in Muscat through offshore companies. He gave me a notice, defamation notice. Yeah. 13 years have passed. He's not, cross-examined me. I begged them, please cross-examine me because I have proofs. From their own balance sheet.
He's in the capacity to do that now, is he?
Yeah.
He's in prison.
No. He's in prison.
You said before that he could have done it.
2012. He was in power.
But you know that many of the cases your government's thrown have fallen apart. Illegal marriage fell apart.
You know, there
all these ridiculous charges.
There are
multiple charges fell apart.
Whatever little knowledge I have, legal knowledge I have, there are cases will definitely stick.
You don't think he's being persecuted as the UN and Amnesty and others say?
I don't agree with that.
Well, let's look at the evidence. Jemima Khan, Imran's ex-wife, said in July of this year, "My children are not allowed to speak on the phone to their father." Pakistan's government has now said if they go there to try and see him, they too will be arrested and put behind bars.
No, they will. It will never happen.
You haven't threatened his children.
You know, I can guarantee that.
You're giving a guarantee that Imran Khan's sons, Suleiman and Qasim, can go to Pakistan and meet with their father. You're giving that guarantee right now.
You know, they can come.
And they won't be arrested. They won't be detained.
They won't be arrested.
Harmed.
They won't be harmed.
Okay. Well, we've seen it. Let's see.
Let them come. You know.
The reason they're worried is because it's not just them. Khan's sister Alima says that he's been deprived of proper legal access. On July the 1st, Khan's lawyer was granted only 95 seconds to consult with the former PM. In fact, just this week, Imran Khan's lawyer, Salman Akram Raja, said that Imran Khan had to join a court hearing via cell phone and WhatsApp from his prison cell. The judge couldn't hear him. He couldn't hear the judge, but the trial continued nevertheless. How is that a fair trial?
No, that didn't happen. Let me...
he said this on Tuesday. Salman Akram Raja, who once represented...
He's operating a Twitter account from the jail cell, you know. Do you know that?
You said he was operating from India the other day. I saw you say that.
No,
you said India is controlling his Twitter account.
Who's then? What is the truth then?
You tell me. You just made two different allegations.
I'm saying that...
Is it Imran in his prison cell or is it India?
You know, it is one... either he's operating from the cell or he should at least identify who's operating the...
You just said a moment ago that he wanted to sue you for defamation.
Yeah.
You just claimed that India is controlling Imran Khan's Twitter account. What evidence do you have for that? It's a big claim to make. What's the evidence?
The evidence, I cannot publicly disclose the evidence.
If you can't publicly disclose the evidence, why make the claim?
No, because it's
Just
there.
trust
It's
that.
there.
We have to trust the Pakistani defense
there.
minister.
It's
You
there.
believe that India is controlling his Twitter account based on what? Intelligence?
Yeah, based on obviously intelligence.
But you're gonna-
Nobody's
So
stating it
do you really
openly.
think Pakistanis, they'll believe a lot of stuff. Do you really think they'll believe that Imran Khan is unpatriotic? There's a lot of things you can believe about him. You can say, oh, he's corrupt, he's this, that, whatever. Do you think people will believe that he's working for India? No one seriously believes that.
Well, that's a discussion which is there is evidence of that, in recent tweets. I'll just give you one evidence.
Yeah.
He has never condemned the Taliban.
I mean, I asked him that question too, and he kind of did. Yes, later he did.
And even 3 or 4 days back.
What's that got to do with India controlling?
No, I'll come to that.
Okay.
His statement, maybe 4 or 5 days back, he was again asking, the Taliban's, they should be treated differently. And during his rule, thousands are brought back to Pakistan. And
I think we've already discussed all Pakistani governments are guilty of supporting dodgy groups. I just want to focus on this trial issue, because you say he's having a free trial. All of the trials he's had have been jail trials conducted inside the Adiala prison premises. Under international law, which Pakistan has signed up to, the ICCPR convention, you're supposed to have a public hearing. Why can't he have one? Why is it in jail?
The same thing was done to Nawaz Sharif also.
Again, we're back to tit for tat. So because it happened to Nawaz Sharif, it should happen to Imran Khan?
They said if you come into equity, you must come with clean hands. That's the maximum of equity.
Are you saying you have clean hands?
Huh?
Are you saying your government has clean hands?
No, he doesn't have clean hands.
But you're admitting then.
If he's
hold on.
demanding
you're admitting then that you're depriving him of rights.
No, he's claiming equity.
He may be a hypocrite, not a hypocrite. That's irrelevant. The issue is, are you depriving him of the rights that he is entitled to? A fair and public trial.
No, if he's claiming equity, he must prove that he has clean hands.
That's not how the law works. Yeah. People are entitled to rights regardless of whether they're hypocrites
equity
or criminals.
Is one big pillar of law.
The international law that you signed up to Pakistan says everyone is entitled to a fair and public hearing. He's not getting one. He's on a WhatsApp call from his prison cell. That's not a fair public hearing.
I'm not aware of this particular transaction or incident.
I mean, he's having all his trials inside Adiala prison. You know that.
Yeah,
that's not a public hearing.
This is something which is happening for the last 72 years or 78 years in Pakistan.
Okay. Your argument seems to be everyone's done bad stuff, so we're doing bad stuff. You said at the beginning, no tit for tat, but you spent the last 5 minutes.
I think the freedom they have in Pakistan, the PTI workers and their social media and all, it's unprecedented.
No, there's a huge crackdown on the PTI. Hundreds have been arrested. Hundreds, thousands.
No, I think this
is according to Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International.
This is exaggerated.
Donald Trump reportedly told your military chief, General Asim Munir, in June that he must resolve the situation with Imran Khan. What do you think he meant by that? And what's Pakistan going to do?
I don't know. Well, the resolution can be legal, constitutional, or of the sort which is available in on the statute books.
Okay, but you're not going to release him because Donald Trump tells you to. Let's talk about some other. Time's running out. I appreciate you taking time out. A couple of other important issues. One is what Pakistan has endured since June. Some of the heaviest monsoons in recent years, affecting more than 6 million people, more than 1,000 people killed, 12,000 homes damaged. You have said in the past, climate change is the direct result of unbridled capitalism. You have said. Your climate minister has called it a crisis of justice. Number one, what is Pakistan doing to try and tackle this crisis? And number two, when you hear Donald Trump say at the UN, climate change and wind power is the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, is that something you agree with?
I don't agree with that.
Okay. So what is Pakistan's position on these crises?
Pakistan, as far as Pakistan is concerned, there are obviously there are reasons or there are causes which are beyond our control. The greenhouse gases and whatever is being done by the industrialized world. But the rest, if you ignore just the rest of the world, but there are things which we can do to mitigate the situation in Pakistan also. We have, for instance, in Pakistan, the forests are gone. Our mountains are almost totally denuded of the forests. That's one big reason. Our glaciers are melting, and greenhouse gases, local production of these gases is still there. Our laws are there on the statute books, but they are not being fully implemented, or they are not. There's absolutely no force behind those laws. So the violation of these environmental laws is something which is very evident in Pakistan. So I think we should, as far as the environment problem is concerned, we should set our house in order. It will reduce the danger or the destruction to an extent, but ultimately it has to be an international effort. And I don't agree that this environmental threat is a hoax, as you just mentioned. And it is
on the receiving end.
Yeah, and it is a very real threat to it's
a national security threat as well.
It is an existential threat.
Yeah, well
it is an existential threat.
Agreed.
And we have to it's going to visit us every year. It's I live in a city which is the entry point of the water into Pakistan from Kashmir, Chenab and two other rivers, and there are 6-7 streams which you cannot imagine what sort of destruction it resulted in Pakistan and India both.
Yes.
Animals, even
something you could unite with India on to tackle.
Yeah, this is something, the environment is, the world has to unite on this issue,
With the exception of the United States, unfortunately. I want to ask one last question. I want to give you a chance to take this one. Pakistan is a country that has experienced military rule, massive levels of corruption from its ruling elites, an economy which hasn't grown in the same way as India's, high levels of political and sectarian violence. Paint a picture for me, for our viewers, of what Pakistan could look like 5-10 years from now. How hopeful are you about your country's future?
I am definitely very hopeful about, very positive about my country's future. There is an economic revival underway, but we have to do a lot. As far as terrorism is concerned, we are taking it head on, and we are trying to curb the terrorism, but it is coming from across the border. Afghanistan, I just defined the status of our relationship with Afghanistan about 2 or 3 days back. I think Afghanistan is a hostile country because Taliban are operating from their soil. I went there, I think, two and a half years back, and they said we can relocate the Taliban, take them to the western regions, and they asked us for a certain sum for that. Said we are ready to provide the sum, but what is the guarantee that they won't come back to our borders again, So these are real threats, and we are tackling with that. But situation was very bad 2 years back when we took over, and when Shahbaz Sharif became the Prime Minister second time, And but since then we have traveled a long way, and we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We have some very serious problems. But even just half an hour or 45 minutes back, I was in a meeting where we have started settling down our circular debt. It's a national problem. So for the first time, a thing which was considered 3 years or 4 years back impossible, that liability is being liquidated. That's a national liability. And banks are taking over that liability, and the government is becoming more liquid and more viable, financially viable. So I'm definitely hopeful. There was dismay and totally hopelessness 2 or 3 years back, but we are definitely hopeful now that things will get better. And obviously, with the revival of economy and revival eradication of terrorism, things will settle down, and we can then tackle the political problems you just pointed out,
I hope you
positively.
I hope you
positively.
can. Asif Khawaja, Defense Minister of Pakistan, thank you for appearing on Zateo. We appreciate it.
It's a pleasure talking to you.